Hope everybody is well. Today I'm gonna make a little app using GraphQL. I see a lot of companies now are posting jobs for GraphQL, so I thought it would be interesting to make a video making like a simple app and talk a little bit about it so you guys get to know what it does, why it was created. So alright, first I'm gonna create a little text file here just so I can explain a little bit about GraphQL, and in what I'm explaining I just write down some stuff. I don't know, little text file .txt. So okay, so what's GraphQL first of all? You know, not for the longest time I thought it was something related to creating graphs because of the name, but then now I realize it's got nothing to do with that. And it's like a language to query and manipulate data for APIs. So there is the REST API, and now there is like the GraphQL. So it's just different like conventions of how you're gonna be manipulating and transferring data from the front end to the database. So let's talk a little bit about how the internet was before, before the smartphones. You know, before the smartphones, the internet was really simple. All the responsibilities of the pages were all given to the back end, right? So before smartphones, if I can spell. So before smartphones, the back end had a lot of responsibility, right? So you send the request to the back end. Let's say you wanna access a page, so you send that request. The back end would get all the information. Let's say you wanna get your profile, so the back end would collect your information. It will put into a view, which was like a HTML file with CSS, and then it would give it to the user, right? So the back end has the responsibility of storing the data, processing the data, and also delivering the view, right? It's a lot of responsibilities, everything. So process, deliver, and also deliver the views. So after the smartphone, we had like more clients accessing that back end, right? So we had the smartphones, we had like the desktops. So then it started to work a little differently. So people they split the back end from the front end, right? So afterwards, we had the back end split from the front end. And so they could be running two different servers. And the back end now, it had less responsibility than before. Now the back end is only responsible to store the data, process the data, get the requests, and send the response to the front end, right? And the front end is where all the views are, and the responsibility of the front end now is just to make the requests to the back end and then get that information and display it on the view, right? So now the back end doesn't have to deliver the views anymore. So, and we passed a little bit of responsibility to the front end. So people, usually we had the REST API for that, right? So the REST API, we have different routes in the back end to access like different resources, right? So let's say we have a route for users like that. We can perform with REST API. We can perform. These are the get. We can perform a post. I'm gonna explain them in a little bit. We can perform put. We can perform delete. These are the basic ones, right? We also have like patch. I think we have like options. But anyways, these are like the basic ones. With these ones, you can basically already do everything that you need. So we had this route called users. If we perform a HTTP request using GET, what we're saying to the back end is that we want to return all the users that we have in our database. That's how the REST API is designed, right? So get to that route, return all users. It doesn't change anything in the database. And it just collects the information and sends to the front end. Now we also have the post. If we perform like a post on this route, we're basically telling the back end that we want to create a new user. So we're gonna send the information about this user in the body of the request, and we're gonna send as a post request to this route, and we're telling the backend we want to create the user with those parameters that we send in the body. Now, let's say we want to do a put. The put is when you want to update information about the user. So you're gonna send this put request to the route users, and you also have to send a parameter on the params the ID of the user you want to update, and then you send the information that you want to update in the body of the request. And we also have the delete that is gonna delete whichever user you sent as a parameter in the params. So here you also send user, let's say the ID of the user is 123, so you're gonna send a delete request to this route here with the ID of the user. And that's basically what the REST API do. It's like very basic explanation. But alright, let's talk about the problems that with this REST API, right? The problems that the GraphQL is trying to solve. So remember I told you like now we have the back end and the front end split. So besides that, we also now have like a lot of clients, right, accessing the back end. We have different cell phones, you can have apps, you can have the desktop. Oh my god, I'm really bad at spelling today, I don't know what's going on. But so let's say we have like a mobile app accessing the front end. We also have like a public API that is accessing the information in our back end. We have, I don't know, a tablet app. So now we have like all these clients, right, all sending requests to the back end. And let's say, you know, in the desktop version of the app, you want this route to list all the users with all the information about the user. So user, name, email, ID, whatever, everything. And let's say if you access the same route through the mobile app, you don't want to show everything. Because it's gonna be too cluttered, it's gonna look bad. So you just wanted to list the names, right, on your app. And so what are you gonna do about it? If you have just this route, you have two different devices accessing this route, and for each device you want to show different types of parameters, right, of your users here. For one, you want to show everything that the users have. For another one, you want to just show the names. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna either create a new route, but that's gonna conflict with the REST API structure. You can create maybe yeah, I don't know. Or you can just leave it like that and just fetch the whole thing and just display the names on the mobile app, right? That's what actually it's done like a lot. But this is a problem because this is called overfetching. We're fetching more data than what we need to consume in the front end. So what it means is that we're consuming the bandwidth of the user. Imagine this user is like on a 3G and it's sending the request and we're overfetching information. You know, every byte counts. So that's gonna make your or website or services slower, you know, like if the user needs only the names, why am giving them like a lot of information, you know? I could just be giving them the names, and then it will be much more efficient, right? So this is actually what GraphQL does. GraphQL, instead of having these routes, get, post, put, delete, it only has one route. So it only has a post. Conventionally people name it this route GraphQL. So we're gonna have just a post request on that route, and in this request we usually pass um, a JSON file right in the body, and inside the body is where we're gonna specify the resources that we're trying to access in the back end. So remember I told you we have get, post, put, delete in the REST API. So if we only have post in GraphQL, so how can we access the information? You know, we only have our one route, so how can we, you know, do the actions that we want to do if there is only one route? So for GraphQL, we have three actions. We have query, that is when you wanna just fetch data from the server. It's like, I would say it's the equivalent to get in the REST API. And it doesn't alter any data in the database, alright? This is only for fetching. We have mutation. Mutation is when you wanna either like update some information in the database, or you want to create new data in the database, or you want to delete something, right? The mutation takes care of all these things. And we also have subscription. So what the subscription does, it listens to data in real time. So GraphQL frameworks, they have the real-time functionality already integrated by default in the framework, right? We don't have to configure like WebSockets, like Socket.io, like we have to do if we just using like, I don't know, creating like a Node.js Express app. So this is really good. We already get this for free set up for us. So we can actually do multiple actions in just one request with this, right? We can do multiple queries, multiple mutations, and so let's see how it would look. So if I'm querying like the database for users, I would have the request, right, which is a JSON file, and in the body I would have query. Let's say the name of the function to access this resource is all users. So I would have all users, and I would type what I wanted to get right from this function. Let's say I want to list just the names, so I'll put the names. Let's say I want to list the names and emails, so I'm gonna put like this. So only what I'm specifying is what's gonna be fetched in the database. Nothing more, no overfetching. So this is one problem that the GraphQL solves. But that's not all. Let's do another one. We can also do like a mutation and change the user. Mutation is gonna get an ID, right? Oh my god, I'm messing things up here. Mutation, and then we'll specify the user with ID. Don't worry, I'm gonna show you an example soon. We're gonna create an app together, and it's gonna be really fun. You're gonna understand everything, all right? So we can also set up like filters, and or we can make relations in the database. Let's say all users had also a relation with groups. I don't know. So we could specify groups here, and we could show the ID of the group, the title, and we can just get that into our request too, right? And also let's say in the web version of our app, we need pagination. And let's say in the mobile, we don't want to use pagination. And then how are we gonna do that? Again, we're gonna fall into the same problem. We're gonna fall into the problem that we will need another controller. We're gonna have to handle like these differences in the back end, or we're gonna have to create new functions to basically provide the same data, but just with filters, without filters, or with pagination. That will make everything really complicated really, really soon. So let's say we querying our users, we could also pass here, I don't know, let's pass here like, I don't know, per page, you want 20 results per page, let's say. So you can just send this information here in the request instead of like having a function, instead of having the backend try to figure things out. So what we're doing here, we actually now putting all the responsibility of what we need to fetch from the database on the front end part. So the back end now, the only responsibility is to fetch what is being asked, and that's it, and deliver. That's it. So we're gonna get a lot more efficiency, and also it's gonna be, you're not gonna like be consuming resources that we didn't have to, right, with this. And also another thing I forgot to mention, see here in this JSON, I'm sending different actions in just one request. So now I can even like create another mutation here, like delete user. So let's say I'm doing many different actions in just one request. If I wanted to do that using the REST API, I would have to send one request asking for the users. Then I have to send another request to update the user. Now I'm sending another request to delete the user. So I'm sending 3 requests that is consuming resources in the back end. When with GraphQL, I can do all the 3 requests in just one, all the 3 actions in just one request. So that's gonna be great, for our back end. It's gonna be much more efficient, it's gonna spend less resources, it's gonna be able to deliver the data to the front end faster. So we have all these good things, right? Another benefit of using GraphQL is that it automatically generates a documentation for our backend. So when we have to use like Swagger or another tool to generate like a documentation of our API with routes, the parameters they receive, the return types, what they do. So GraphQL does all of that for us using the schema, right? I will show you what the schema is very soon, but the schema basically stores like the types of routes, the returns, the parameters, and also there is something really, really cool that you get for free when you use the GraphQL, but for now, I'm just gonna keep it as a surprise, alright? I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna give you any spoiler because we're gonna see that in action very soon. It's gonna be really fun, it's gonna blow your mind. I bet. Alright, but I think we explained enough. I think now it makes sense, right? Why GraphQL is great, why it's becoming popular right now. And so now let's get to the code, which is the part I know everybody's anxious for. So I'm in an empty folder here, right? I'm just gonna create the project right now. So oh yeah, I hope you following up, right? I hope you have your VS Code open and you're doing it with me. It's gonna be really fun. I'm gonna go slowly so you can just definitely follow with me, alright? So let's first create our project, right? So I'm in a blank folder right now. I'm gonna initiate. So we're gonna do the yarn init -y. So we're gonna generate a little package. And we're gonna need to choose a framework to use GraphQL. And if you're doing the REST API with Node.js, people use the Express. It's like one of the most popular ones. And you say like, can we use Express for GraphQL? Yeah, we can use Express for GraphQL as well. But the problem is that some functionalities that we have with GraphQL is not going to be available if you use Express. You're gonna have to do a lot of work, like to use these functionalities. So instead of using Express, I'm gonna be using another one. It's called GraphQL Yoga. GraphQL-Yoga. So if you go on GitHub and you see this GraphQL Yoga, you're gonna see that this is like a wrapper around Express. So it uses Express, but it adds all the other functionalities that I was telling you about, the subscription functionality. So it's gonna add all of that for us, right? So now while this is installing, let me create already our source folder. Source, and also I'm gonna create a server file in JavaScript. So okay, we got our node modules. I think I'm gonna send this to GitHub later. I'm gonna create a git ignore here already, and I'm gonna put node modules there, because we always want to put the node modules in the git ignore, because node modules, this is really heavy, like if you want to download this project later, if you want to clone, you can just run yarn. You can just clone and then run yarn on your terminal, and then you're gonna download all the dependencies that I'm using for this app, and it's gonna create the node modules for you. Otherwise, we always put this on git ignore, because this is really heavy. You see how many folders we have here, how many files? We don't need to send that to GitHub. It's not good. So we always put this folder here, so when we send to GitHub, it's not gonna be sent. Alright, so we installed our GraphQL Yoga, and I created here the server. So now let's get, oh my god, this, I put the text really big, because I know the quality of the video on LinkedIn is gonna be bad, so I hope it is gonna look good with the font this size. So now we're gonna get this guy called GraphQL server from GraphQL. Oops. Alright, so now we're gonna get this guy, and the same way like we do with Express, we're gonna create a constant server, which is gonna be equal to new GraphQL server. And here in the body, we're gonna set some parameters. We're gonna put some options here later. I'll show you later. I'm just gonna leave it blank for now. And we need to run the server, right? Just like Express, just like we're doing Express. So server start. And just so we know that the server is running, I'm gonna put a console log. Server is on. Just so whenever we start the server, this message is gonna show, so we're gonna know when the server is online. And now, let me put a little emoji here, just to look cool, just to look fancy, because we can, right? Why not? So okay, so how do I define my routes now? So I need route, right, to access the resources. So how am I gonna define these routes? So in GraphQL, actually, they don't call it routes, they call it schema. So from now on, first let me create here the schema.graphql So from now on, I'm not gonna call it routes anymore, right? Because let's say they're equivalent to routes, but in GraphQL, they're called schema. So I'm not gonna call them routes anymore, right? From now on, I'm gonna call it schema, okay? So I have some types of, I have to specify the types of routes, right? So let's say, like I said, we have three types: the query, the mutation, and the subscription. So let's say here I want to put out the query. I also have the type mutation, where I'm gonna put all the mutations. And in the mutation, we can have like a create, we can have like a new update, we can have a delete. So, and here we're gonna have like a index. I don't know, we're gonna figure this out. But so now I'll tell you guys which app I'm making, because I just realized I haven't even said what app we're making yet. But of course, you know, like every tutorial, if you're into app development, you know what's the classic app that, you know, every tutorial will teach you, which is the To-Do app. To-Do app is what we're gonna do. But like I was saying, GraphQL is strongly typed, right? So if I want to return objects of type To-Do, I have to specify what are the parameters of that this object is gonna have. So let me specify here type to do, and then what do we have in a to do list? We have a description, right? Description. We have an option saying if it was checked or not, it's like a boolean, and we have an ID. Gotta give an ID to to-dos, especially if you're gonna use React in the front end, and React always complains if you're trying to make like a dynamic list and you don't provide the ID of the item. You know, React is gonna be like, yo dude, where's my ID, man? Can't make a dynamic list without an ID, man. But you know, React is really cool, but complains a lot sometimes. But you know, you love React, you want to take React to the park, you want to buy React an ice cream, you can't live without React. So at the end of the day, you just like, you know what, React? Here's your ID. And then you just have a peaceful day and you just sleep well. Alright, so like I said, we have to specify here what this to-do will have. So the to-do will have an ID. And in GraphQL, the ID, we specify as this ID, like all caps lock, and I want this ID to be required. I want it to be required, so I'm gonna put this exclamation mark here just to tell that the ID is required for this item. It cannot be null, it cannot be empty. The description is gonna be a string, also required. Checked, a boolean, it's also gonna be required. But I just wanted to point out something. This is not how the information is gonna be stored in the database, alright? This is just, we just declaring how it's gonna look for the front end. This is the format of the to-do object in our API, alright? So it's gonna be how to-do will be returned to the end user in the front end. That's, let's say you have a user and you have password and you don't want to send the password, so you won't put it here, right? This is only what the front end is gonna have access. And also now we have to write our queries. So in the queries, I don't want to make an index. I want to make a, so queries is only to fetch information. Let's create in our schema, let's create like to-dos. And the to-dos is gonna return an array of to-dos, right? So an array of to-dos, and I'm gonna put an exclamation mark here. And what this means basically is that I'm telling GraphQL that everything inside this array must be to-do objects. It cannot be anything else. So that's what this exclamation mark does. And also I'm going to put an exclamation mark in front of it. That means that it always has to return an array, even if it's empty. Alright, so that's what it means. I also have to do, let's also create a route just to retrieve just a single to-do. Maybe we want to just see one in details, I don't know. And this one is gonna have to receive an ID as a parameter, right? And the ID is of type ID, also gonna make it required. And this is gonna return. No, I messed up here. This is gonna return, you put the return after this column. So this is gonna return just a single to-do. And I'm not gonna put the exclamation mark here, and I'll tell you why. Because imagine the user makes a request to access this to-do and it sends an ID that doesn't exist. So it's not gonna return, right? It's not gonna be able to find the to-do. So that's why I'm not putting the exclamation mark. It could be either a to-do or it could be a no. And the mutation, what can we create here for our to-do app? In the mutation, we can have, let's say, a create to-do, and the create to-do is going to take a description. The description is going to be a string, and also has to be, it's also required. And so since you're creating, and there is no, let's say you're creating a user, so sometimes if the user try to register with an email that is already taken, it's not going to be able to register, right? So it's not going to return a user. But in the case of to-dos, it's always going to return a to-do. So I'm going to put an exclamation mark because I know it's always going to return. You know, there's no case where I'm not going to be able to create a to-do. So also what do? We have to create some update methods here, right? So let's create a method checked to do. This check to do, just to change your check mark, right, or boolean here, from false to true and from true to false if you want to check or uncheck. So it's gonna take an ID, right? The ID is required, and also has to get the parameter checked, and that's gonna be a boolean. I'm also gonna make that required. But look at this function here. I had two ways of doing this, right? I could either just get the ID and then I check. If the to do is unchecked, I check, and if the to do is checked, I just uncheck, right? I could do that way too. But the way I want to do this is because remember I told you that we can create multiple actions into just one request. So let's say in the front end, we want to add this functionality that we can check all the items in our to-do list at the same time. If we do it this way, it's going to be much easier to implement that. So the front end, this is the front end's job to tell the back end what to do, right? So we're passing the responsibility to the front end. That's the purpose. So we have to take advantage, right, of what GraphQL gives to us. So that's why I'm gonna do this way. And also it's gonna return the to-do method that we changed. And also I'm not gonna put exclamation mark here because if the user sends an ID that doesn't exist, it's not gonna return anything. So okay, I have a checked to do. Now let's create another one, update to do, that we're gonna have to send the ID. It's also gonna be required, and we're gonna send a description that is gonna be of type string, and we want to update the description. Let's say we want to do that, and that's gonna return the to do updated. And now we need just to create the delete to do, and then we can move on. So this is gonna take an ID. of type ID is gonna be required, and I'm gonna make it return the item that we deleted. Because maybe in the front end you wanna put like a message saying this to-do was successful deleted. I don't know. You can make it look really pretty. I'm just gonna leave it up to you to decide how to use this. But okay, now we can move on to the next step. So here, remember I told you it takes some arguments here. So the first one that we need is to pass the schema for type defs. So we need to pass our schema to this type defs. So basically I'm gonna get the path equals require path equals require path, and then I'm gonna send here path.resolve, and I'm gonna send underline dir name. So what this means is I just wanna this means that it's in the folder, right, that we are right now, and in the same folder I'm gonna get the schema. Oops, I'm doing it wrong. Schema.graphql. Alright, so this is done. So now we need to create our controllers, right? Our controllers is the one that will get, you know, the information from the schema, and it's gonna do something with it. It's gonna do some processing, it's gonna return the data that the user is asking for. But controllers are not called controllers in GraphQL. They are called resolvers. So even if you start typing here, you can see that it already I don't know what happened, but yeah, basically resolvers. We also have to send the resolvers to the GraphQL server. Alright, so we don't have a resolvers file, so let's just create a resolvers resolvers.js, and let's import that in this server. Alright, const resolvers equals require, and there you go, resolvers. And so I'm already sending our resolvers to the server. Alright, so we got everything we need now. We have the schema, we have the resolvers. So now let's go on the resolvers and let's get them set up too. So let's do here module exports. Alright, for query, for the type query, we have what? We have our function. It's complaining because I forgot this column here. So for query, we have the to-dos, right? The to-do route in the schema. It's not called routes anymore. But anyway, we have the to-dos. It's gonna return something. It's gonna have a function. It's gonna return something. We also have, let me just put a comma here. We also have the to-do, right? That is gonna return just a single to-do. Just gonna put a function here too. And now we can move on to the next one that we had, the mutations. So okay, mutation. If you guys remember, what we did was what? It was a create to do, right? Create to do. We also had checked to do, that changes from the parameter checked to do. Oh my god, it's really hard to type correctly. I don't know what's going on, guys. But anyways, check to do. And now what else we have? We have update to do. and the last one is the delete to do. That's what we have. That's all we got. All we got. Everything set up, everything very beautiful. All right. Really nice. We did a lot already. It doesn't seem like, but we did a lot already. So okay, now we need the schema for our data, right? Because I want to show you the app working, because I want to show you that surprise that I told you about in the beginning of this video. So for the data, for the database, I'm gonna use MongoDB because it's gonna be really easy to set up. It's gonna be really quick, and I think it's gonna be also easy to follow along. We don't need relations, so I think we're gonna be fine with MongoDB. Let me just make sure I have a MongoDB server, sorry, a database running here. If my computer decides to load, let's see, yeah, it's online. Alright, so we have the MongoDB, so let me just install yarn add mongoose so we can access it. And then we're gonna have to set this up, right? My computer is gonna take a little while, I think, to download this mongoose. Computer is being a little slow. Come on, computer, you can do it if you believe it. There you go. Actually, it was faster than I thought. So now that we have the mongoose, we have to start and we have to connect to our database here. So let's do here const mongoose equals require mongoose. And now that we have the mongoose, now we have to connect, right, to the database. So let's connect here. Mongoose.connect, and I'm gonna pass here MongoDB colon localhost. The port for the MongoDB is 27017 slash, and the name of our database we can do GraphQL LinkedIn. I'm gonna do GraphQL LinkedIn. I think that's very creative. I think that's very great, very descriptive, very beautiful, poetic. Alright, so also we're gonna send some configurations here. Use new. This is configuration because we have some methods that are deprecated. To set these flags here so we don't get any complaints later, because we don't like no complaints. We like things to work. At least I do. I just assume everyone does. So okay, anyway, so we created here our database, we connected, so now we good. Now we can create the schema for our to-do, right? I'm gonna create in the same folder to-do.js. You know, I'm not making any like structure, not following any. Oh my god. But anyways, I'm just gonna put in the source. I hope you guys forgive me for that. I'm just trying to make things quick. But I'm sure someone's eyes will burn to see this. I don't know whose eyes. If your eyes burn, let me know in the comments. But definitely someone's eyes gonna burn. Okay, so now that we have our to-do.js, we have to first get our mongoose, right? Const mongoose require mongoose. Alright, so but this is gonna be really simple. We're gonna create the schema now, const to-do schema. We already did this before. We already know the structure. Mongoose.schema, and this is gonna take some parameters. It's gonna take a description. description is gonna be type string, and also it's gonna take a checked, which is gonna be boolean. Okay, now we just need to export this. Module.exports equals mongoose.model and to do, that's the name of our object, and we have to send the schema, right, the to do schema. Alright, I think that's it here. So now let's get this database, and let's get this schema, and let's import inside our resolvers, right? Because our resolvers is the one that will access the database, and it's gonna be delivering the information. So we need this. We need to import here the schema here. To import. No, it's not the import. I'm going crazy. I'm just doing the other way. Well, we're using the required, right? So const to do equals require, and it's in the same folder. So we just get from here. Now we have our to do schema here. So now we can start implementing our resolvers. All right. So the to do's. What the to do will need to do? What the to do will need to do? The to do. The to do. I don't know why I erased that. Is just gonna return, right? It's just gonna return all the to do's that we have in the database. So basically, it's just gonna do a to do dot find. We could also pass some parameters here, like pagination parameters, stuff like that, but I'm not gonna get into much deep. But I can definitely point out some resources later, or maybe I can make another video later showing that, but I'm gonna talk about it later, okay? I'm not gonna forget. And let's just keep going. And it doesn't take any parameter here. And but for the to-do needs to take a parameter, which is the ID, right? But the first parameter that we send to GraphQL is a proxy. You know, you can put a lot of configuration, a lot of stuff here. I'm not gonna get into details. We're not gonna need it right now. So let's just skip that for now. So here you get the proxy, and the second parameter is gonna be the ID. We can just destructure what we're gonna get and just get the ID from our request. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna get into our database, and we're gonna find by ID. We're gonna send that ID, and alright, it's gonna be returned. Simple like that. Why this guy is complaining? Oh yeah, I forgot to put a comma here. Let me just put some space here. Look a little better. Alright, so the create to do. The create to do, that's gonna have to get as an argument. So first is the proxy. We're not gonna mess with that. And we're gonna need the description, right? Description to create our to do. And what it's gonna do, let me try to make this smaller to make more room. It's gonna do a to do create, and we're gonna pass the description. And we're gonna also pass checked as false, as default, because remember I told you this is required. We needed a required, and I don't think anybody would want to create a to-do list that is already checked, so we can just put the checked false by default here. So yeah, that's it, and it's gonna return that's at least that's what we hope, right? It's gonna return what the recently created to do. And here for the checked to do, we're gonna receive the ID, and we also gonna receive the checked status, if it's gonna be false or true, right? And that's what we need to do here. We just need to go into our database. Let's do a find by ID and update, and then we can just send the ID as a parameter, and we also send the checked, right? Checked as checked, simple like that. Alright, I think that's good for now. I think that's gonna work. So let's see now the update. The update is to update the description. So what we're gonna get, we need an ID, so we know which one we want to update, and we also gonna need the description. And what we're gonna do is almost the same thing we did for checked. We're gonna do the to do dot find by ID and update. We're gonna send the ID, and we're gonna send the description. Description as description, exactly the same way we did for checked. We're just changing the parameters that we're sending in the body. Alright, and the delete to do. The delete to do, we're gonna, oh yeah, another cool thing that I forgot to talk about is that so GraphQL already expects that we're gonna receive promises by default, so we don't have to do like async functions, we don't have to do like that await, you know. It already expects that we're gonna have a promise here by default, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's why I'm doing like this, even though it returns a promise. Alright, so we just need to do the delete, and then I can show you guys the surprise, the big surprise that I'm talking about, and yeah, I'm sure you're so excited to see it. Alright, delete, it's gonna be, so the delete's gonna be really simple. It's just gonna go into our database, find by ID and delete. That's it. You just send the ID, and that's it. I think we're ready to test. You guys ready for to find out what's gonna be the surprise? So okay, so to run, we just need to run our server, and we're gonna access into localhost 4000. Oh, it didn't work. What happened? Const server new GraphQL is not a constructor. What did I do wrong? Let's see. You know, this is normal, like to have errors like that. We're just doing it here, right? We just have to solve it. It's not a big deal. So the problem, let me see. Alright guys, I found out what's the problem here. Basically, I imported this wrong, right? We remember we downloaded the GraphQL Yoga, and I was trying to do just GraphQL. Yeah, I don't think, yeah, this is the only place, right, where we got stuff from this library. So this should be, everything else should be fine. Let's see, I didn't test yet, but I think that's the problem. Let's try to run again. Come on, computer, you can do it. You've done it hundreds of times, my friend. You can do once again. Oh, there you go. Here we got our message, server is on. So now let's go here on the new tab, and let's access localhost 4000. Localhost 4000. And here's the surprise, guys. It's gonna be the first thing you're gonna see. So when we're using GraphQL, we get something for free, something really cool. If my computer loads, you can do it. Alright, a lot of patience with this little dinosaur. It's a reliable dinosaur. It's just very slow. And here's the surprise. Loading. Look at this, guys. So we get for free an API client where we can test all the routes. But in this case, all the schema of our app. You know, like if you didn't have this, you'd have to have a software to do that. Maybe Insomnia. I really like to use Insomnia for that. But that is also Postman. That's really good. And but anyways, so we get this for free. And look, remember I told you about the documentation, that it generates a documentation automatically. So look at this tab here, all the documentation, all the query that we can do. If you click, it tells you like what are the parameters it take, and it tells you the type of the parameter. If you click, it even talks about like, well, how the parameters are like. So this is pretty cool. We get all of this for free. But we can also add more information here if you want to make a really nice documentation. Talk about how it works more specifically. You can do that. You can make more complete documentation. You can also see how the schema looks like here. In this tab you can see everything. And I hope the font is gonna be a good size here. So yeah, 20 should be good, right? Anyway, let me close here. So now we have to test our app. Now it's the time of the truth, guys, to see if all this work is gonna pay off. So the first one we're gonna do is a mutation, right? Mutation. And the mutation is the create to do. See, it even has autocomplete. Damn. Isn't it beautiful? So anyways, we have like a create to do. We have to pass a description, and let's create here, I don't know, study React as a description. And here I'm gonna specify what I want to be returned. Let's say I'm the front end and I wanted to return the ID. I want to return everything I can get, you know, and it's the description and the checked. That's what I want to be returned. So let's play, and there you go, it worked. So good work. One of our functionalities work. That's great. And we return, and it returned here or new to do, and we return with everything: the ID, the description, and the checked, right? The checked, if and it's false by default. Now let's create a new one. I don't know, buy coffee. Buy coffee. Coffee is very important. And let's say this time like, oh, okay, but I'm using it from my cell phone, and then on the cell phone I just wanted to list the items. I don't want to show if it's checked or not. I'm just giving an example, okay, because just to show that there is no overfetching. No, you literally get exactly what you asked for, so there is no overfetching. That's great. It's super efficient for the back end. See, it only returned what you needed. So I'm gonna put check back here. Let's create a few more. Alright, now I'm gonna create one for you guys. Alright, if you guys are not following along with this video, this to do is for you. Create to do app. This is you have to do. You have to put that in your to do list. Alright, created. Let's see one more. I don't know, I'm running out of creativity. This is so slow. There you go. I don't know, eat potato. Potato is, you know, very nutritious. It's got vitamins, it's got, I don't know, carbohydrates, or I don't know anything about it. And okay, and let's put one more, sleep. We have to remember to sleep, right? Because we're gonna buy coffee, we're gonna be drinking a lot of coffee. We gotta put in our to-do list that we need to sleep. Alright, so we test this functionality, this works, and it's good. We created a lot of to-do items now. You see, I can create tabs here. It's really good to test all these different functionalities. I don't have to erase and create a new one. So now let's try to list them, right? So to list, it's gonna be a query action, and the name of the query that we made was what? To-dos, right? And to-dos don't get any parameter, it only lists, and I wanted to list everything. Like I show you, I can choose what to list out of the things that are available, right? And I want to show everything. Let's pray and play. There we go. Everything was stored in our database successfully, guys. It was returned as an array of to-do objects. Everything set to false. We have here study React, buy coffee, create to-do app, eat potatoes, sleep. And okay, one more down. So what else we have? We have another query, right? We have a query that returns a single item. It's called to-do. It takes an ID. Look, it gets automatically filled for me. And I gonna want to return everything just because I can. Why not? Everything. I want it all. So okay, we need one ID. Let's see which one we gonna get. Let's get this one. Create to-do app. Let's see if we can retrieve that one. Let's see if it's gonna work, guys. There we go. Boom. Nice. Nice. All right. We're getting there. We just need a few more. We just need to test a few more. We need to test now the mutation, right? We need to test a mutation. Let's try the check to do. And the check to do takes an ID as a parameter. And it also gets a boolean, right? Checked. I'm gonna put check to true because right now all the ones I have are false. So I wanna change one to true, and I want it to return everything because you guys know how I am. I just want it all. Okay, now I need an ID. Let's see. So we didn't finish our to-do app yet, so I'm not gonna check that one through. But let's say what we did. You know, I ate a potato. I ate a potato today. So I'm gonna just set that one to true. Alright, so let's pass the ID here. Hope you guys also ate a potato, so you can check this one. Check this one true. Let's see. There you go. Boom. Returned the data. Updated. Returned the eat potato as true. Let's just go on our list just to make sure. Where is our potato? It's here. Just make sure it's gonna update when we click play. When we're retrieving the data. Boom. True. That's it, guys. We did it. We did it. So now we have check to do. What else we need? We need another mutation. The another one was to update the description, right? It was called update to do. And that one takes an ID as an argument. And it's gonna be a string. I have to copy and description. I don't know. Let me think about it in a little bit, okay? And I want ID, description, checked. Let's see which one that we want to update. Let's see, study React. Study React, all right. I want to update that. Sorry guys, I had to drink some water. Oh my god, my throat is all dry. I never spoke so much like this. It's the first time in my life. So okay, let's continue. Let's go here. We got no time to waste here. We're very excited about this. I want to update study React to, I don't know, study React Native. React Native is also very cool. We have to put that in our to-do list. And boom, there you go. We have our new to-do updated. Let's double check here when we query. and boom, there you go. Now it's updated. Oh my god, I'm losing my voice. But that's fine. You know, we are almost done. We only need to test one more, right? One more functionality, which is the what? The delete. We have, how many we have? I forgot. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the delete is the last one. Alright, so delete is a mutation. Remember, mutation is when you want to delete, create, update. So delete, it only takes one argument, it's just the ID. And I want to see everything. Show me everything you got. Alright, so now I just need, and I expect that it's gonna return the one that I'm deleting, right? So let me see which one I'm gonna delete. I'm gonna delete sleep, you know, sometimes you don't need to sleep, you just stay awake. Just stay awake and do your thing. Alright, so let's delete that one, and I expect that I'm gonna get this to do returned. Boom. Something wrong. Wow, our last one. We gotta know. Let's see if it worked. It was the sleep, right? Let's see if it was at least deleted. Yeah, it was deleted from the database. We just didn't get what we were expecting. Because, I don't know. That's weird. I think this is not waiting for a promise. I think maybe that's why we gotta know. Because we still deleted the item, right? So we just didn't get the return. So I think we got the return before the item was deleted. I don't think it waited for the promise. So let me try to put a then here. Let's see if this is gonna fix. Alright, let's run our server again. This is our last functionality, guys. Let's hope this is gonna work. After this, we're gonna have a beautiful to-do app made with GraphQL from scratch. The classic to-do app. You know, if you into web development, I'm sure you did at least 3 different to-do apps with different technologies. I know it. You know, you don't have to hide it. We all been there. But okay, this guy is already deleted. So let's delete a new one. Create to-do app. Yeah, we almost done. We can delete this one, right? We don't need anymore. Now we already did the app. So I just hope that this is gonna work this time now that I added the then. Let me drink more water. And boom, that's it. We got it back. So that was the problem. It was not waiting for the promise. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna push this to GitHub. So if you guys wanna see the code, you can just see the code. I'm gonna create a repository here. I hope there is no, what? Oh no, GitHub, come on. Really? During my video? There you go. What we're gonna call? We're gonna call GraphQL. I'll put everything lowercase. GraphQL link. GraphQL app. With A uppercase. GraphQL app. Wow. No, wait. GraphQL to-do app. Whoa. That's very descriptive. Very creative. Very nice. So let's create this repository. Oh my god, what's going on? Oh, it's offline. Oh, there you go. I think it was created. Yeah. So okay, so we just have to do the git init. Also gonna copy this guy. Let me turn the server off. Git init. But I don't know what's going on with GitHub. It's offline. I don't know if this is gonna work. Git init. Alright. You see the node modules now, it's kind of like gray. It's because this is not gonna be pushed to GitHub because we put in the git ignore. So I always put this folder in git ignore. It's very big and there is no point in pushing it to GitHub. It's not good. So okay, we're gonna add, right, everything. We're gonna git commit now with a message. The classic first commit. We also need to add the remote, the origin, and let's push git push origin master. Alright, let's see if it's gonna work because GitHub is a little crazy. GitHub is offline. It's trouble. Let's see. Let's give it an upload here. Alright, yeah, everything is here. All the files are here. I mean, GitHub is offline now, but hopefully by the time you guys check it out, it's gonna be working fine. So everything is here. You can see the code as it is. And yeah, that's it. And remember I told you we can create filters and stuff like that. We can add like, I don't know, per page here. We can add filters here. We can add all these things, but also we're gonna have to handle these requests in your resolver. We're gonna have to code that. But but I'm not gonna do this here. But if you're interested in GraphQL, I'm gonna recommend you this tool called Prisma. Prisma is gonna automate a lot of this stuff that you're to do these filters, this per page. It automates everything. It's really cool. You should check it out, Prisma. And alright, I hope you guys had fun. I hope it was productive. I hope you learned a little bit about GraphQL. I hope you got excited about it. And let me know in the comments if I said anything wrong. If you have anything to add, let's create a nice discussion about it. And let me know what you think. Maybe if you like, maybe I can make another video later. Maybe I can make a video talking about Prisma, or maybe I can make a video talking about, maybe we can make a React JS app to access this backend that we made. That would be cool. So yeah, let me know. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you want more. And that's it. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you're gonna have a beautiful evening. And I hope you stay well and safe. Goodbye now.